Picture Barbados, 1899. A time before cars, before television, before video games. The Electricity Act is passed in Parliament.
All this fuss about this newfangled thing called electricity.
Oh, it's much too volatile and dangerous to catch on.
But it did catch on.
Jaden, come inside and finish your homework.
Coming. Granny, what is a smart lamp?
A what?
A smart lamp.
A smart lamp? What, have mercy, child? What I think about that in years?
Not so long ago, there was an age when the only way to see at night was by fire, candlelight, or the light of a smut lamp. Most Barbadian activities were restricted by the rising and setting of the sun. The revolutionary invention of the light bulb by Thomas Edison in 1879 would change our world dramatically. When the Electricity Act was passed by Parliament in 1899, many were suspicious of this radical new idea, and some even tried to impede its progress.
Really, all this fuss about this newfangled thing called electricity.
Oh, it's much too volatile and dangerous to catch on. Can you imagine all those poles all over the countryside?
Quite, yes.
My name is Henderson Carter. I am a senior lecturer in history in the Department of History and Philosophy, Cayfield campus, and of course the author of Powering Our Nation's Progress, the story of electricity service in Barbados, 1911 to 2011. It's important to understand visionaries in that context because it had never been done in Barbados before. This was a new thing, or some people call it a newfangled thing, where people were even scared of electricity. And this company came to Barbados. These are British investors who were investing in electricity in Barbados. And they did so in a context where the other companies had come in, for example, the railway company, the water company, and the telegraph company. Those companies had been here before. But here comes the Barbados Electric Supply Company to bring fresh energy into infrastructure in Barbados. And of course, electricity was the infrastructural service that really made the development, the infrastructural development for Barbadians come through. The Barbados Electric Supply Company was a risk taker because there was no way that they could envisage getting back their money easily. And they're taking a risk, because a lot of people were scared of electricity. They did not know that merchants and people in the communities, especially the suburban communities, that 5-mile radius from Bridgetown, would sign on to electricity. They did not know, for example, that churches would sign on, and the first church to sign on was Dalkeith Methodist Church. So they were taking a risk.
In 1911, underground mains were laid in Bridgetown and along the Hastings Road as far as St. Lawrence Gap. Excitement grew throughout the country, leading up to June 17th at 4:45 p.m. when Lady Probyn, wife of then Governor Sir Leslie Probyn, would flick the switch that would officially launch electricity in Bridgetown, thus ushering in a new era of industrialization and modernity. In 1955, the Barbados Light and Power Company Limited was formed to take over the local assets of the BESC, which remained as a holding company in London. And as more underground mains were laid and more innovations implemented, industries grew, travel and tourism boomed, and improved healthcare enhanced the lives of citizens. Bit by bit, Barbadians discovered much more than the practical benefits of electricity.
I remember when we used to gather around the neighbor window outside and watch all kinds of TV shows inside. It wasn't so much the TV show as it was the novelty of television and having fun with your neighbors. It was an event.
You know, there was a time when if somebody had a fridge in the house, I know when the days when you got a whole village and one fridge in the house. Now, fridge, microwave, every appliance you could think of, as many fans as you have rooms.
Sometimes, I don't think we realize that without electricity, piped water would not be a reality, and just how labor-intensive life would have been. Wherever there was light, people gathered around it like moths. All kinds of communities developed around electricity. It was like the original social media.
Hey Google, how does electricity get into my house?
Electricity enters your home through a service head from a series of outdoor power lines or an underground connection.
Electricity is generated at power plants, transmitted over high voltage lines to substations, where the voltage is reduced. It's then distributed through local power lines to neighborhoods. A transformer near each home further reduces voltage, and electricity flows through a meter and main panel, supplying power to the house.
You flip a switch, and there's light and power. But behind the panel, there was a whole network of systems and people that make this magic happen. It's a very intricate system. Over the years, electricity has become such an integral part of our growth, development, and who we are as a people that we really couldn't imagine life without it.
When I consider every event that happened in Barbados, you cannot leave out electricity out of it. The electricity in hotels, electricity in businesses, electricity in our homes, just to iron our clothes and to dispose of those old irons that we had in those days, electricity to power television, electricity to power radios, electricity now to power our air conditioning units that we have. This has really, and we only understand the significance of it when power goes off. So electricity has really governed our lives, shaped our lives, directed our lives for the good.
And so that's how we have looked at it from the very beginning. Of course, I wasn't here at the very beginning, but I've been here for quite some time, having, I think, joined as a summer intern 35 years ago. So I've seen quite a lot, had the opportunity to work with a lot of departments and a lot of leaders over the time. And certainly that's a core value for us as a business, is in terms of meeting the objectives for our customers, balancing the requirement for reliable, resilient, affordable, and sustainable supply of electricity.
So where does the money go?
Apart from fuel, which is the lion's share of the money spent, 27% out of every dollar is spent on a combination of operation and maintenance and capital investments. And this is really important because as a company, we take pride and value maintaining a high level of service for our customers. And so effectively, a large amount of money spent is in doing that. So between 2010, for instance, and 2022, we would have spent $822 million in investments alone. And so over the years, we've made consistent improvements to our plant and equipment and to innovative technologies to ensure that we are, more efficient and serving our customers in an easier way. And so some of the ones we would have made more recently relate to our facility at Trent, St. Lucie. So we would have invested in a new plant called the Clean Energy Bridge. We also have at that site a solar farm, a 10 megawatt solar farm, which is the first of its type in the Eastern Caribbean. We have a large scale 5 megawatt battery storage unit also at that site. Also, I believe the first of its type in the Eastern Caribbean. And so apart from that, which is, infrastructural investment, we've also made a lot of customer improvements. So over the years, we have an advanced metering infrastructure in place, we know them as the smart meters. We also have implemented a geographic informational system, which allows us to have sight of all of our equipment in the field. It helps with our vegetation management program. And it's particularly helpful when we have storms, when we're doing restorations, to understand where the most impacted areas are. And so we've made a number of these investments over the years and continuously do so on an annual basis.
The way in which Barbadians produce and consume becomes more energy efficient. The automation of what used to be manual processes allows us, Barbadians, to enter into an age of more sustainable industrial development.
The words rate increase, those are bad words for most customers. I think those are like profanity, never tolerated, never welcomed. But the reality is our business, we face changes periodically, particularly in terms of price pressure. Like every other business, the price of doing business has increased significantly for us. And we're seeing that happening more frequently. And so what happens is where we have to make those maintenance decisions, we have to put in new plant and improve on our infrastructure or make innovative changes in relation to purchasing upgrades in technology. What often happens is we have to go out and get those things from international suppliers. And so they're the ones who set the price for the businesses in terms of what we are charged, and then in turn have to pass on to customers.
I would say you really learn the importance of power banks when you're on a hike, because you only have a finite amount of electricity when you get to base camp, especially if we are out hiking in different countries. Say we were in Trinidad, we will often hike on the beach, we will camp out on the beach or camp out in the bush with no access to electricity at all. You really have to get accustomed to working without power over those 5 days or so.
On your first camp, you think that you can just quit, because it's your first time out there. So you're accustomed to, if it's not going your way, or it's not working out, you could just say, yeah, guys, we're done with this. We just call our parents to pick us up. I remember a lot of frustration and a lot of people very upset that they could not call their parents to pick them up.
And for us, when we were at lodge, we cooked ramen, funnily enough, ramen and Vienna sausages. But at first, again, not having a gas stove or electric stove was a problem because outside was wet and getting the fire going was pretty hard. It took us like 20 minutes to get a sustained flame going to cook on.
And I had initially started the fire process. I was the person manning not the grill, but the fire. And coming from an electric stove all the way down, not even to a gas stove, but to a fire in the damp grass, it was a bit more difficult.
Also GPS as well. GPS and Google Maps. Yeah. It's so, you have a real appreciation for it after you spend 5 days out not being able to use it.
Not lost, temporarily
displaced.
Exactly, agreed.
Right.
Never lost.
Yeah.
Never lost.
So as a service provider, I think our customers, what they expect from us is energy at all moments of every day. We are, of course, a 24-hour operation, and electricity is essentially the lifeblood of the economy, and people depend on it.
The history of electricity in Barbados is not just the light and power story, it's really our story. Next time on Lights Up.
Why is it that we always selling off the family silver so? First we sell.
Join us